All right, let's talk about Baroque opera. We're going to pull back the curtain on what was basically the blockbuster event of its day, a wild spectacle of music, drama, and some seriously mind-blowing special effects from 400 years ago.
So, picture this. There are no movie theaters, no giant stadium concerts, nothing like that. What was the ultimate show? Well, if you wanted the biggest, loudest, most exciting entertainment money could buy, you went to the opera.
Okay, so let's dive in. To really get a feel for this, you have to imagine stepping into a 17th century theater. And believe me, these places were built from the ground up to be absolutely jaw-dropping.
Yeah, these weren't just buildings. They were like palaces of entertainment. The whole seating area was a giant horseshoe, which sounds weird, but it was so everyone could get a good look at everyone else. The stage was framed by this massive arch. The whole room glittered from the flickering light of thousands of candles, and you'd look up and see angels painted on the ceiling. And the sound, the acoustics were so perfect that one person singing could fill the entire space, no microphone needed. This wasn't just about watching a show, it was about being seen.
So, you're in your seat, the show is about to begin. But how does it all work? I mean, how are you supposed to follow a story when everybody is singing all the time? Well, let's break down the language of opera.
First things first, every opera has what's called a libretto. In Italian, that literally means little book, and that's exactly what it is. It's the script for the entire performance. It has the whole story, all the words, everything. Usually the plots were based on really dramatic stuff, like old myths or major historical events.
Okay, so when the characters need to actually talk to each other, move the plot along, argue, make a plan, they use a style called recitative. The best way to think about it is like sung dialogue. The music gets simpler, and it sounds more like they're speaking than singing. It's all about getting the story information out quickly.
But then you have the arias, and these were the real showstoppers. This is where the action on stage just freezes. One character steps into the spotlight, the full orchestra swells, and they just let loose with this big, powerful solo about what they're feeling, whether it's pure joy, heartbreak, or white-hot rage. This is what people paid to see.
So here's the key takeaway, right? The recitative tells you what's happening, and the aria tells you how the character feels about it. You get the action, then you get the emotion. That back and forth is the engine that makes the whole opera run.
Now, let's talk about the people on stage, because Baroque opera didn't just have singers. It had its own world-famous superstars. We're talking about the pop stars of the 17th century.
And the biggest stars of all were the castrati. These were male singers who, through a surgical procedure when they were young, never went through puberty. So what you got was this incredible combination, the powerful lungs and breath control of a grown man, but with the soaring, high-pitched vocal range of a soprano. It was a sound unlike anything else on earth.
And they were loud. Their voices were so powerful they could soar over an entire orchestra without any help. I mean, these guys were famous across all of Europe. They made fortunes, had adoring fans, and they always got to play the lead roles, the heroic warriors and the mighty kings.
But, it wasn't just about the singing. A huge reason people packed into these theaters was for the special effects. They came for the spectacle, and Baroque opera absolutely delivered.
Seriously, forget CGI. 400 years ago, theaters had these teams of engineers working behind the curtain with incredibly complex machines, all built out of wood, rope, and counterweights to create real, live magic right there on stage.
So let's say the story called for a god to come down from the heavens. They wouldn't just, walk on from the side of the stage. No way. A whole crew backstage would operate this massive wooden crane and pulley system to literally fly the actor down from the ceiling. The audience would go wild.
And they had all sorts of tricks up their sleeves. Trapdoors in the floor for demons to appear out of nowhere, huge sheets of metal they'd shake to make it sound like a thunderstorm was right there in the theater. They even had machines to simulate rolling ocean waves on stage. For the people watching, it was a total sensory overload in the best way possible.
Now, just like we have action movies and comedies today, Baroque opera wasn't all one thing. It basically had two main genres, the super serious and the super funny. So on the one hand, you had opera seria, or serious opera. This was the fancy stuff, with epic stories about gods, kings, and heroes facing impossible choices. It was for the royalty and the upper class. But then, this new, popular style popped up called opera buffa, funny opera. This stuff was a riot. It was all about normal people, servants, clumsy doctors getting into hilarious situations. It was way more relatable, and ordinary people absolutely loved it. So, after all this, why should we care about some 400-year-old art form? Well, the crazy thing is, the legacy of Baroque opera is all around us. We just don't always see it.
I mean, think about it. For over 400 years, the ideas and innovations that came out of these theaters didn't just fade away. They evolved, and they're still a huge part of the entertainment we love right now. So many of the words we use for music, like aria or orchestra, come straight from this era. And the whole idea of telling a story from start to finish through song, that's the blueprint for every single Broadway musical. Even the design of our grandest theaters today is still based on those Baroque originals. Its DNA is literally everywhere.
So, next time you're watching a massive blockbuster movie, and that epic musical score kicks in to make a scene feel huge and important, just take a second and remember this whole idea of combining giant music with huge drama to create an unforgettable spectacle. Yeah, it all started right here, in the spectacular world of Baroque opera.